The different kinds of acts of criminal violence make a city dangerous for locals as well as for tourists. These criminal acts are probably the deadliest potential threat to break the peace of any city or country. Crime TV shows might be thrilling to watch on the big screen, but such events are less appealing in real life. And so you should be aware of the most dangerous cities in the world. Welcome back to the channel. Our videos are guaranteed to keep you coming back for amazing content. So let's start with today's video. Acapulco, Mexico. Acapulco, a city in Mexico, is one of the most dangerous places to live or visit in the world. This dangerous city used to be a playground for the Hollywood set, however now the drug war is happening on the streets. Acapulco's hillside neighborhoods are the stronghold of gangs like 221 or Los Locos, which include kidnappers, assassins, extortionists, car thieves, and killers. 111 homicides per 100,000 people are a result of this violence. This uncontrollable violence and danger is one of the main reasons for the devastation of the tourism industry. And because these activities are equally terrifying for both residents and tourists, if you want to visit the city, then you should probably travel in a bulletproof car for your protection. And some poorer business owners who can't afford security systems are paying for protection. Grozny, Russia. Grozny is the famous capital city of Chechnya, a constituent republic of Russia. The city has been at the epicenter of two relatively recent wars, and it was recently built up again after the extensive damage from explosions as well as missile attacks. Now, even though wars have now subsided, the city is still unsafe, and many governments advise their citizens against traveling to the region. The crime rate is an average of 37.91. However, this might partly be down to regular patrols on the streets. So in spite of every factor, serious crimes such as kidnapping and terrorism are serious risks in the city. Sarajevo, Herzegovina, and Bosnia. Sarajevo is the capital city of Bosnia as well as Herzegovina. The city was under attack in the 1990s and held under siege during the Bosnian War, but has strongly recovered since. The city is known as the Jerusalem of Europe due to its religious significance. Sarajevo's widely troubled political past is now history, and normality has slowly returned to the city. However, there is some severe pickpocketing going along with many other petty thefts here, just like you would find in most other tourist destinations. And while most tourists are unlikely to experience problems in the city, the crime rate of this city is at 45.03 and rising. Belém, Brazil. Belém is a port city which is located on Brazil's Amazon River. The drug trade here is widespread, fueled partly by the high poverty levels which create a desperate need to make money to survive. The city in Brazil has a murder rate of about 71.4 in every 100,000 people, and this figure is exacerbated by militia gangs which are made up largely of off-duty police officers. Moreover, these militia gangs are responsible for numerous deaths, and while the militia themselves are under an increasing threat from the gangs they hunt down. Also, straying off into the back streets could be dangerous for visitors, especially if they happen to be wearing jewelry which makes them a target. But the city does have a bustling nightlife and is mostly safe, even friendly, in certain areas. Glasgow, Scotland. Scotland's biggest city, Glasgow, is a very ancient city overflowing with visitors' activities. The old cathedrals as well as the city districts which meet art galleries along with many other modern attractions. The warm and hearty Scottish welcome can always be very endearing. However, it might be wise to not let your guard down while you're here. Glasgow is home to a variety of gangs, and there have been many turf wars in the city as well. In 2010, the city of Glasgow had a murder rate of 5.1 in 100,000 people, along with a crime rate of 45.38. Surprisingly enough, Glasgow murder rates in 2020 made up 20% of all crimes committed in the entirety of Scotland. Cali, Colombia. Cali is well known as one of Colombia's most important centers for arts and sports. The city in Colombia has hosted a selection of regional and international sporting competitions and has plenty to keep short-term visitors occupied. However, the city is well known for something that is not so appealing. Cali was the home of the violent Cali cartel until it ceased operating in 1996. However, organized crime is still very common and widespread in the city, as they take advantage of the lucrative drug trade, as well as the murder rate is currently 49.6 per 100,000 people. The tourists are unlikely to experience problems provided that they take care. Brussels, Belgium. Brussels is home to the European Parliament, which is considered at the heart of European politics. The city has plenty of places of interest to keep tourists busy, and while visitors can even make the most of the chocolate, beer, and the delicious waffles. But unfortunately, Brussels has a crime rate of 51.6. There are many petty crimes such as theft as well as pickpocketing. They're considered relatively high. However, the violent crimes are not usually something to be concerned about. But one major factor that does make Brussels a potentially hazardous location is that the city is often the target of terrorist attacks, as well as several terrorist groups have been found in the city. Donetsk, Ukraine. Donetsk is stated to be the fifth largest city in Ukraine and one of the country's main industrial centers. The city has some fascinating museums to visit and the architecture which would tempt a lot of people, but the city is one that is best to be avoided. Donetsk is considered a hot point of political chaos, social unrest, as well as violent protests. The Donetsk People's Republic also has a de facto administration of the city and has stated that as their republic's capital city and the fight for control over the city is still going on. Also, the city is also home to criminal organizations, and the crime rate is very high at around 69.1. Los Cabos, Mexico. Los Cabos is a famous city that has been developed relatively recently for tourism thanks primarily to its ideal location. But the drug trade is rife in the city, which has now led to many conflicts between rival gangs spilling all over into the streets of Los Cabos. With almost 111.3 homicides in every 100,000 people, Los Cabos is considered to be the second most dangerous city in the world. Regardless, many tourists still come to the city even though gangs have hung bodies from bridges close to major tourist resorts to send messages to rival gangs to local authorities. But tourists are not typically targeted despite the dangers, and there have been efforts made to deal with the gangs. Still, Los Cabos is a clear example of a city where you should definitely avoid straying away from the tourist centers and into the suburbs. Marseille, France. Marseille is said to be one of Europe's most important trading ports as well as the second largest city in France. Marseille is one of the oldest towns in France, so you can definitely expect to find plenty of history here, and the tourists will find more than enough activities to keep them occupied. But at the same time, Marseille has a serious drug problem, partly due to migrants facing poverty conditions. A thriving drug trade exists in the city, with various criminal organizations contributing to a crime rate of 61.50. Most crimes in Marseille include mugging, credit card theft, as well as pickpocketing, and even though violent crimes are also a problem with contract murders. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed today's video and found it interesting, then make sure to leave us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to be always updated with the most exciting content as soon as it's uploaded. Thanks for watching. See you again soon in another video.